The Dallas Stars are beginning to heat up. Jake Oettinger looks like he's returning to form. Jamie Benn continues his domination, and the Stars get a big win to begin this 4-game road trip in the desert. Let's jump into it next on Locked On Stars.
Your Locked On Stars, your daily podcast on the Dallas Stars. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Howdy, Stars fans, and welcome back to another episode of Locked On Stars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. It's a pleasure to be with you. I'm Joey Erickson, former producer of 105 Through the Fan and play-by-play voice of the Chippewa Steel. Please be sure to subscribe. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube. And as always, thank you so much for making us a part of your day and making us your first listen. The Dallas Stars have now won 4 straight games. They take down the Coyotes in the desert last night by a final score of 4-2. And it seems like everything's starting to come together recently for the Stars. Jake Oettinger with a big night, some sensational stops from him. Jamie Benn, the captain. What else can we say about his domination here in the month of March? And a very, very big road trip here for the Dallas Stars that gets underway on the right foot. So much to get into on today's episode. Big shout out to all you Stars fans out there. Hopefully you enjoyed your wonderful weekend. Currently in Wisconsin, we're in a winter storm warning. It is pouring snow outside. It has been crazy. So I'm a bit cooped up. So no better time to hop on the mic and get to talking some Stars hockey here today. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code Locked On for $20 off your first purchase. Jake Oettinger has been really good here in his last 3 starts, and hopefully this is a trend that will continue heading into the postseason because it's been a roller coaster of a season. There's flashes of Jake Oettinger looking really, really sharp, and then there's some not so good stretches. But right now, it's a stretch where he's making the routine stops, and he's even making more of those really wowza impressive saves. Taking a look at the third period where he made that incredible save on the doorstep with the paddle right before Arizona went on the power play. Incredible stick save there. Those are the type of bounces and saves you seem to make when you just have your rhythm back, right? And in his last 3 starts, he hasn't allowed the opponent to have more than 2 on him, which is a great sign. He made 20 saves against Pittsburgh in the win. He made 25 against the Coyotes in Dallas, and then he follows up with a real impressive effort at Mullet Arena, 28 shots against from the Coyotes, so he goes 26 of 28 and really made some key stops. In the first period, he stoned Bukestad a couple of times. He stoned Gunther, who is a really, really talented young goal scorer. Of course, Bukestad got him later in the third period, but a lot to like out of Jake Oettinger, and he just seems more comfortable. I mentioned in the win against Arizona where he was shaky, even though obviously they got the win, but he just didn't look all that comfortable. But he looked really, really comfortable last night and was fantastic. And just the way he was moving, he was engaged, he was scrambling a few times, which you're going to get in his game. But a real nice outing from Jake Oettinger, because the Stars, for my liking, were not very good in front of him during some stretches of the game. A lot of reaching with sticks and not taking bodies, and they had some glorious looks. And he held in there, right? And we haven't seen that enough out of him. We've got it from Wedgwood a ton this season, but not a ton from Oettinger. And he just held them in there. 2.77 expected goals against. So they weren't lighting him up by any means. But again, he's engaged and making big saves at key moments. And he did that on the lengthy 5-on-3. Arizona had over a minute of 5-on-3 time, and the Stars did really well on the PK number 1. They were great at limiting Arizona to some perimeter shots, and when Jake Oettinger was tested, he came up huge with a few stops. So all things said, just a real nice outing from Otter, and it may get overshadowed by some of the other performances on the night, but that won't be the case here on Locked On Stars. So 3 straight starts for him now. He's over 20 saves, and of course has not allowed an opponent to get more than 2 on him, which is even bigger, right? Teams are gonna get looks. They're gonna get some chances. They're gonna execute, but can you hold them in? Can you only allow 2? Because the third can be a backbreaker, even though this offense is really lethal. If you hold the opponent to 2, the Stars are going to win a lot. They're going to win a lot because they can easily put up 3 on any given night. Stars have now won 9 of their last 11, which is a great sign. We've talked about it at nauseum here in the month of March. Stars have a pretty easy schedule moving forward. They aren't taking on a ton of playoff teams. They do have Winnipeg towards the end of the year, and there are some tougher opponents in the mix, but they have a chance to take a stranglehold of the Central Division. They did get some help over the weekend. Winnipeg lost 2 in a row. Colorado should have lost. Pittsburgh just could not hold on to a 4-0 lead. But if the Stars take care of business, of course, themselves, they're going to be perfectly fine. And Jake Oettinger is going to be a big factor in the Stars come postseason time. And we've talked about it a lot, right? So what is he going to look like? We just need to have a confidence level where you understand what you're going to get from him on an every night basis. And that just has not been the case this season for most of the year. You would hope you can expect him to just be kind of the guy, right? And it hasn't come to fruition this year. He certainly is battling through it, but a lot of encouraging signs moving forward in these last 3 starts. So just good stuff from him in general. He's been really good on the road. The Stars in general have been great on the road this season. Their net minding's been better. They're 30th in save percentage on home ice. They're top 5 on the road. 910 save percentage away from the American Airlines Center this season, which is drastic. It is drastic. So the Stars have no issues on the road. Otter improves his record against the Coyotes. He's 6-1 in 7 games, 926 save percentage, and 1.86 goals against average. Also has a shutout in there. So he's been great in the crease on the road, but against the Coyotes in his career. So another big outing for him. It's 3 in a row, which is great. He's starting to find a rhythm. I hope the Stars can trot him out there quite a bit here down the stretch to get into his mode, so to speak, his zen, whatever it needs to be. So he can be that guy when it matters, when the postseason begins, because at this point he feels like the X factor. Stars have put a lot of the pieces together. The defense has improved, especially post All-Star break. The offense has been the offense. They're fully healthy. They kind of have the full complement of pieces besides Dodonov, who's still on the LTIR. But if Otter is just remotely what we think he can be, man, they're going to be a tough out because he can be brilliant at times. And Scott Wedgwood, of course, has been a phenomenal backup this season, but you need Jake to be a step above Wedgwood more consistently, and that just hasn't been the case this season. But great great stuff and encouraging signs for sure from Oettinger. He makes a couple of saves shorthanded, made a couple of huge stops down the stretch. He was scrambling. He even almost got to the Keller goal, which opened the scoring for Arizona. He got a piece of it. So he was in it till the very end, and another good outing. So I wanted to shine some light on him because I feel like, well, rightfully so, we've been very critical of Jake Ottinger's play, but we have to show up on the other side when he is doing sensational things as well. So great stuff. Stars on a 4-game winning streak. They're on a heater, including their captain, Jamie Benn. Good Lord, he cannot miss. And I was wrong on something, and I have to right it. I have to right the ship here, and we'll do that in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by Game Time. Game Time is obsessed with finding you ways to save money on tickets. See the view from your seat before you buy. You know exactly what you're going to get when you get to the game. All-in prices show your total up front, so you know exactly the deal you're getting before you even check it out. You can buy tickets so quickly, 2 taps. You can get the tickets to the next Stars game. Opening day is right around the corner at Globe Life Field. A concert, a comedy, a stand-up comic that you wanted to see, you name it, they have it at Game Time. And they will credit you 110% of the difference as well if you find tickets in the same section or row for less. Game Time just takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. It is so hard to buy tickets nowadays. All of you sports fans know that. There's so many fees, or yada, yada, yada. You get it. You're scrolling through. I just want to buy tickets and get to the game. I just want to enjoy the experience at the ballpark, at the arena, you name it. So download Game Time right now. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets. Create an account. You can use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account. Redeem code LOCKEDON. That's Locked On for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets. Lowest price guaranteed. Jamie Benn, you monster. He cannot be stopped. He scores in his 4th straight game, and it just the beat goes on for the captain. Has 16 now on the season, had his first multi-goal night of the year just a few nights prior against Pittsburgh. And what I was wrong about, which I usually am on a lot of things, we can be honest, I throw a lot of stuff out there throughout the year, but I mentioned on the power play and throughout the year, they haven't put him in a ton of spots to be successful because they throw him on the flank where he's just not as comfortable at, where I believe he's better in front of the net and creating havoc there in the middle of the slot. But lately it has been a shooting gallery from that left circle, and maybe it's just he's finding the back of the net now, so I can't complain. But my goodness, he's been lethal and deadly from that left circle, and a beautiful little knee drop one-timer up high on Ingram for his goal last night. And on the power play, he's just ripping it home, especially off the rush. It has been a sight for sore eyes because he really struggled in the offensive production numbers for 3-4 months of the season until Stankoven got called up, and then kapow. He continues to be on a march in the month of March. He now has 14 points in the month alone in the 10 games. That leads the Stars, folks. That leads the Stars. He's got 14 points and he's got 7 goals, which is now tied for a team lead in the month. He's playing under 15 minutes per game. He's got 4 power play goals, which leads the Stars in the month. I mean, he's just doing a bit of everything. He's a playmaker. He's a forechecker. He's physical. He's vintage right now. what you're seeing on a nightly basis, a physical presence, a power forward that is a force to be reckoned with. And if you don't match up with him or mark him, he will make you pay. And it's been a lot of fun to watch, especially when he's playing with the 2 young kids. He ends up playing just under 10 minutes in the hockey game, actually, but just great stuff at even strength. He's doing a lot without doing a lot, if that makes sense. You can tell he's not forcing anything, and I'm sure Stankoven and Johnston certainly help with that, but it's just great stuff from him and his trio. The Stars get another glorious performance from the forward groups once again. Duchene, a 3-point night, by the way. Don't forget about that. He buries the empty netter late, which is a great sign. Needed to get him off the schneid. It'd been a while since he scored. He now has 24 on the season. Seguin with a 3-point night. That duo has just been dominant all season long. And more importantly, in the game, the Stars closed it out. They closed out the game. And they allowed Arizona to tie it, of course, in the third. But they really went on the gallop. They just went after it. In the last 10 minutes, it was all Dallas. They really started to dominate possession and started to dictate the play. And that was great to see, where they didn't fall back and just allow Arizona to continue to come at them in ways, which we saw for the opening 5 to 7 minutes in that period. They started to pick it up late and really pressured them in their own zone. And then Miro with that bomb for the GWG. What a laser. He usually gets stopped or he misses wide. It was nice to see that clap bomb finally hit twine. It was beautiful. And that was really all the Stars needed. They get the empty netter and they close it out from there on the road against a team they should be able to close out a game against. So just good stuff all the way around. A few more numbers for you in the game. Outshot the Coyotes 35-28. Miro was a +2. Duchene and Seguin were a +3. That line just is so good, and it's so fortunate that Seguin's back. 8 takeaways on the night, only 5 giveaways, which is a real nice sight, because Stars had been living towards double digits in that category. The PK was great too. I just skimmed over it a bit, but I mean, dog work from Radek Faksa on the 5-on-3. Tanev and Lindell together were great, and really did not give up a ton of great looks for in the game. There was maybe one on the doorstep that Otter made a stop on Keller, but for the most part, kind of outer perimeter shots, they only had a few, and they had 4 power plays on the night. Stars had 4 too. The power play had some looks, but nothing incredibly dangerous to test Ingram, who made some stops when he needed to. But Jamie Benn, look, this is great stuff. 14 points in his last 10 games. It's been vintage, and we touched on it last week about kind of the run he's been on, and it hasn't slowed down. And that line is just dangerous every time they step out on the ice. And Seguin and Duchene are going to get their looks. If you look at their game scores, Duchene was 4.2 on the night. Seguin was 4.15. Their expected goals for was just around 0.9. Which is top 5 on the team in the game. I mean, just Just great stuff. And this is what I love too from Dallas. You get the top 4 game scores: Duchene, Seguin, Miro, and Harley. Some of your best players right there are your best players making things happen. And they factored in last night for sure. And they get the job done on the road to begin this 4-game road trip, which is a big road trip for the Stars. They play some great opponents, and let's preview the road trip a bit, take a look ahead, and see just how much of a factor it could play in this Central Division race that is really starting to tighten up. And we'll do that in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by Sleeper. We're past the halfway point in the season, Stars fans, and regardless of where the Stars are in the current standings, I want to remind you that you can win big by playing daily fantasy hockey on Sleeper, the official daily fantasy app of the Locked On NHL Network. Sleeper is our #1 choice for daily fantasy sports, and especially daily fantasy hockey. Because with Sleeper, you can win 100 times your cash in daily fantasy hockey contests by playing Sleeper. And the great thing about it is it really isn't that tough because you can pick the studs of the National Hockey League, the Connor McDavids and the Nathan McKinnons, of course, who get points on a nightly basis. And if you correctly predict the outcome of 8 player stats, such as goals, assists, saves, plus minus in a given game, you could win 100 times your bet on Sleeper. 100 times your bet by playing daily fantasy hockey. So start paying attention, nail those picks, and you can start winning big. Use promo code LOCKEDONNHL. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. And of course, see Sleeper's terms of use for details and location availability. That's code LOCKEDONNHL. Alrighty, Stars fans, the Stars get a much-needed win on the road once again at the beginning of this 4-game road trip. They've just been really, really good away from home this season. If they could replicate some of their play back at home, that would be very, very great. They do get San Jose here tomorrow, so another late night for that one. Against the Sharks. Then they play Vancouver, who, of course, is at the top of the Western Conference. And then you finish up, with Seattle on Saturday. So really 2 opponents that are very beatable, of course. And then you got Vancouver, who is certainly a force to be reckoned with in a building where the Stars have really struggled recently. They've gotten goaltended by Demko to to the absolute max, and they've struggled to find some confidence in Vancouver. But you get division, or not division, but Western Conference opponents. Stars just trail Vancouver by a point. So the Western Conference is still up for grabs, which is pretty remarkable. And it's really interesting too, because I don't know if you want the Stars to win the Western Conference. Of course, winning the division or winning the Western Conference is better than not, but I don't know if winning the Western Conference and getting Vegas is a great reward. And I know Vegas has not been fantastic as of late, but you just feel like they're going to turn it on. You know they're going to get bodies back. You know they're going to be fully healthy on game 1. It's going to be the most miraculous recovery, medical, whatever you want to call it, miracle we've ever seen. And I don't know if that's the opponent you want. Really, for my sake, you just have to avoid Colorado, who is probably a buzzsaw. They've won 9 in a row, and maybe you want to miss Nashville too. That's another opponent that's 8-0-2 in their last 10. Like, they have been dominant. So it's kind of like pick your poison in the West. There's a lot of good teams, and I think we'll have a real clear view of where the Stars will be and everything starting to shake out after this road trip, because they'll be through game 76 after Saturday in Seattle, and who knows what position they'll be in. But Colorado's on a heater, of course. Winnipeg is kind of middling right now. They've lost 3 in a row, but of course Hellenbuck is there. Just a lot of jumble and close knit up there in the top 3. So I mean, who knows what can happen in the final 10 games of the season, but it is tight. It is congested. And the first round matchups are going to be fascinating. And for the NHL, it's a great problem. Like, you're going to have some big time first round matchups. And it usually is that way. The first round is just the bread and butter of the NHL postseason. But this year, especially in the West, with the amount of like contenders there actually are, it's not just some middling team that's getting in. Like, they are legit. Most of them are contenders. It's going to be fascinating who the Stars are going to get and who we're going to have to kind of talk about. But Stars are now 22-9-5 on the road. That is tied for the most road wins in the West through this point. Nashville is actually tied with 22, and a lot of it has been because this run has been incredible for the Preds. Once the Stars smack them around, and I mentioned that this probably ends their season, Nashville just comes out of the woodworks and will not be denied. So the road trip should be interesting. Stars, I think, can comfortably go 3-1, or with a few wins. You kind of got San Jose and Seattle on the docket, but I think the one we're all looking forward to is Thursday against Vancouver. What are they going to look like against the opponent that has given them fits? That's what I want to see. Can Otter play big in that moment? Like, that's the moment. If he can arrive or just play up to his potential, like, okay, yes, this is great. This is great stuff. Maybe we'll see Wedgwood get the start on Tuesday here tomorrow against San Jose, get him back in the mix after becoming a new dad. Let's get him his first win and go from there. So a lot of good stuff. A lot of good things from last night. A lot of positives to take forward. And the Stars have certainly bounced back. A little nugget for you too that I saw from last night, which I think is awesome. So of course Miro scored. The Stars are 23-4 when a defenseman scores this season. 23-4. That's pretty lights out. That is very, very lights out. And there's a little nugget in there for you. I like to throw those out there so you can chew on that. That's what I'm going to leave you with. That little nugget, 23-4. So you know what that means. Suter, Tanev, Lindell, the goal scorers on the back end, start firing away. Get that thing to bounce home. And Stars are lights out after that. So great stuff. Great stuff all the way around. Exciting night. Stars have won 4 in a row, folks. 4 in a row. Let's make it 5. Let's not have the 7-6 thriller in San Jose again. And maybe we'll touch on that a bit tomorrow. We'll, of course, preview them, and we'll go from there. So have a wonderful rest of your day. Enjoy whatever it is you may be enjoying on this fine morning, fine afternoon, whenever you are tuning in. And we'll be right back at it tomorrow and break down all the nitty gritty. So long, Stars fans.